So we are reading from Canto 3, Srimad Bhagavatam, the status quo, and chapter 32, entangled fruitive activity, entanglement in fruitive activities, and reading text 20. Dakshinena, southern, Patha, by the path, Aryamnaha, of the sun, Pitrlokam, to Pitrloka, Rajanti, go, Te, they, Rajam, their families, Anu, along with Prajayante, they take birth, Samasana, the crematorium, Anta, to the end, Kriya, fruitive activities, Kritaha, performing, Dakshinena Pataryam Naha, Pitrulokam Vrajantite, Prajam Anu Prajayante, Smasananta Kriya Kritaha. Anyone wants to recite? One more time, please, Mataji's. Okay. No one wants to recite? All right, we'll move on. So I'll just read the translation. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Such materialistic person are allowed to go to the planet called Pitrloka by the southern course of the sun. But they again come back to this planet and take birth in their own families, beginning again the same fruitive activities from birth to the end of life. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter, verse 21, it is stated that such persons are elevated to the higher planetary systems. As soon as their lifetimes of fruitive activity are finished, they return to this planet, and thus they go up and come down. Those who are elevated to the higher planets again come back into the same family for which they had too much attachment. They are born, and the fruitive activities continue again until the end of life. There are different prescribed rituals from birth until the end of life, and they are very much attached to such activities. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Sakshurunmilitam Yena Tashmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhisham Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tatati Swaptantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapatakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sakrajadam Sahagana Raghunathan Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaidam Savadudam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Govindatam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vidamsha Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Ancha Kalpatrubhishya Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Ghadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Yes. Yeah, all good, Mataji. I was just wondering something, and yeah. So, um, yep, I'm good. Can you all see me? It's all right. Okay. Okay. Awesome. So, all right. So, okay. I was just wondering if you can hear me all right because I put the phone a little bit. Okay. Great. Great, Mataji. So, what we are seeing today is more about people going to Pitrloka. Again, Lord Kapila Dev continue to give alerts or warning signs or instructions or the facts, everything, the combination of everything to Mother Devahuti for the benefit of all humankind, not just for Mother Devahuti, which we know already. Correct. And the purpose of all this Sankhya philosophy and then going deeper into Krishna consciousness philosophy by Lord Kapila Dev is to make every single human being to progress in the spiritual path, regardless of their position, the status, or anything. And Prabhupada often says, depends on the time, candidate, and country. He preached and he um, changed a lot of things as well, which we, learn from his, from his instructions and his practical application as well. Now here, Kapila Muni is talking about those materialistic persons. Here it is referring to this karmakantis, akama karmis, and they are attached to a few things, right? And one of those attachment is towards their family members. So now we'll just briefly talk about Pitrloka, so where it is located and what are the qualifications to enter and who wants to enter and what happens after they enter and when will it end and etc. So we'll look at it now. So Pitrloka is located in Yamaloka. I also have heard that there are two Pitrlokas, one in Moon Planet, the other one is Yamaloka. And the head of Pitrloka is sometime mentioned that it's Ayamna, I think, Aryama. He is one of the sons of Kashyapa Muni and Aditi, and he's very much capable of looking after Pitrloka. And it is also said when Vidura was cursed when he was Yamaraj in his previous life, he was cursed by Manduka Muni. Somewhere it says Mandavya Muni. Regardless, the story was, which we already know, and I also mentioned the story in my Vedic cosmology class on Saturday Feast, and sorry if it is repetitive for you. I just quickly tell, even though you might know the story. So Manduka Muni or Mandavya Muni, whichever you want to take it as, and he, when he was a child, he poked a little ant by a thorn. Because he did that, the karmic reaction was pending. So he became sage later on and he started living in hermitage. And one time, the thieves who were trying to hide somewhere, they found this hermitage and they were concealing themselves inside the hermitage. When the servants of the magistrate came and they picked up all the thieves along with the sage Manduka Muni, and when they went back to the magistrate, and the magistrate chose the punishment of this putting the lace inside the rectum, and it will come out of the head, that means the person will die. And that is very heavy punishment, and that was given to the sage as well. And it was about to execute the punishment. They were just about to execute the punishment. Then immediately, um, someone, servant of the king, came and said to the king, "This something wrong happened. The sage was going to be punished." So then king came to the magistrate and stopped the execution. And then because the sage, they have ascetic power, yogic power, he became very angry, and he went to Yamaloka and Yamaraj and told that, "I'm so upset about it. Why did you do that for?" And it was so injustice. And then Yamaraj explained what happened. Then the sage said, "Well, that was out of innocence what I did, and it's unfair that you gave me that such big punishment. Because you did that very much out of ignorance, I'm going to punish you, that you will be born as Sudra on the earth planet." And this happened because, again, due to the arrangement of the Lord. Yamaraj, even though his duty is preaching and looking after the uh, people, especially sinful people, how Lord Shiva looks after this ghosts and, this fallen souls. Similarly, this, one second. So, yeah. So this who is this? Yeah, Vidura or Yamaraj, he was looking after the sinful beings. He is very compassionate, but he wants to preach um, in a broader perspective. He wanted to reach out and preach, and he just wanted to. Didn't want to always look at the sinful people, and it's not more of preaching field, Yamaloka. It's more of reformation if happening, not preaching as such, because people do not understand. They get the body, they get the body, and they just go on and on about getting the suffering. It is said that people do not, actually, people are okay with that suffering. Otherwise, it's very hard. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that they're very much okay with this. In the sense, see, for example, we are here. This morning I was cooking really quickly. I need to get my chore done in the morning, so I get Valaba ready. So that time I got burnt on my hand a little bit. So it was not too big. It's not too big deal, just a little bit, and started to hurt. And I was able to manage the suffering. My body, the gross body, Sthula Sarira, is able to manage that suffering. And I'm not gonna sit down and lament about it, and it's we just move on. Similarly, in Yamaloka, also in any hellish planet, there are 28 in numbers. Sukadeva Goswami says that some authorities say, he himself says, some authority say there are 21 hellish planets, and some say 28 hellish planets. But he agreed with 28 hellish planets because he described all of them in his 26th chapter from Canto 5. Therefore, we understand that there are 26 planets, hellish planets, and all of them, some of them are very cold, some of them are very hot, and we know that depending on your karma, you will get vikarma. Depending on your vikarma, the bad activities, you get the punishment in different kinds of planets, hellish planets. So they get the body that's suitable for the suffering, therefore they just keep going with the suffering, like how we keep going with the suffering with a headache or something, and etc. Now, the Pitrloka is located. Oh, sorry. Going back to the story, that because he wanted to preach in the proper field, which is, Earth planet is very popular for that purpose. Even though you can preach anyway in the universe or any universes, but Bhuloka or Earth planet, especially Earth planet Bharatkhanda, is very favorable for this purpose, because we see both suffering and happiness, not just one thing, because we have dvanda, duality. So we can compare, oh wow, 5 years ago or 10 years ago, I was so happy. I was younger and stronger and healthier. Look at me now, I'm so horrible, miserable. So we compare, and then we take some advice. If someone gives, oh look, I saw, if I say I saw a naturopath and he suggested this and that, then my friend would accept that. Oh yeah, I have the same symptoms. Maybe I should accept and see how it goes. Because we are ready to take that risk, because we have seen the good and bad side of the coin. So we accept it. We are more receptive than in any other planet. So that's why Vidura was also, I mean, Yamaraj was also wondering if he could do some preaching. Then Krishna arranged such incident where the sage Manduk Muni became very angry and cursed Yamaraj to go take birth as Vidura. Um, and when Vidura came, and Vidura did what he had to do, and we'll cover what he did to, I mean, how he counseled Dhritarashtra at the later part of this class. But for now, what he did was, whatever he did after that Prabhasha Kshetra, he left his body, and this inhabitants of Yamaloka came, or Pitrloka came and picked him up, with respect, and they, you know, took him back to his own abode, and there he started continuing his service. And during the period of absence, when I take leave or something from my work, someone will have to cover it. Like that. That's when Aryama covered the position of Yamaraj, and also sometimes it says Agnishvata also covers this position, Pitraloka's head position. So that's that. And the location is between Patala Loka and Garbhodaka Ocean is where Pitraloka is located. And what are the qualifications? As I was saying, Sakama Karmis go there, and Karma Kandis. So they are very interested in sense enjoyment while they're residing in the Earth planet. And also their objective is to go to the planet where they can continue to enjoy the sense activities. So we have this Indriyani, um, Panchendriya. So we have this, and what they use is to totally dedicate themselves, their energies, their indriyas towards sense gratification. So when one is inclined towards those sense activities, I mean sense gratificatory activities, they go to Pitrloka, and of course they have to be qualified for that. They have to have done good activities, good deeds on the earth planet to become eligible. And excuse me, and who are not eligible, someone who have done, excuse me, sinful activities, they're very offensive in nature, then they can't go to Pitrloka. Now, other thing is, we cover the objective, so who go there and etc. And what's the reasoning behind is because obviously they wanted to enjoy forever, and they get a lot of facilities in one sense. How King Prithu was arranging some ceremony, the inhabitants of Pitraloka also attended this meeting. It is said in the translation and purport. So we understand that they are in very good position. Not that it is said anyway that all the inhabitants of hellish planet, like Tamishra or Antatamishra, Ruru or Maharuru came and blessed King Prithu, or King Priyavarta or anything like that. No, we only hear a lot of things from the higher planets, not lower planets. So Pitraloka is considered one of the higher planets. Um, so if you look at it, it is said in one of the purports, I believe in Canto 5, that we have these 2 years, and the right ears is situated on the southern side. It is generally used for receiving sense gratificatory messages and etc. And therefore, what happens there, when you're just always enjoying, you're using your right ear for the enjoyment purposes, so your own Atma Indriya, Atmendriya, or you know, for your own self satisfaction, you go to those planets, higher planets, Swargaloka, Pitrloka. Whereas on the left side of the ear, the northern side, are considered more auspicious. And when you hear the things, or what you would like to hear more about, is about the spiritual path. So those who use the left ear, they usually go to Brahma Jyoti, the spiritual sky, or higher planets like Brahmaloka, Tapaloka, Janaloka, and even spiritual universe in itself. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Tyakta Devaha Punarjanma Naiti Mameti Sarjuna. So one who attains my abode, they won't return. So therefore, who utilizes the left ear for the purpose of Krishna consciousness katha, then they go to the spiritual abode, Krishna Loka or Vaikuntha Loka, they would not return. Okay, and that's what Krishna promises. It is guaranteed that we would not return. However, out of free will, Nectar of Instruction, third verse, I believe it says that if you are envious of Krishna, you immediately fall down. That simple as that. So it's not that even though Krishna guarantees, but if we misuse our free will, there is no guarantee. Unfortunately, that's Acharya's warning there. So next is when they go, what happens is because they are so attached to the family members, they wish well for, they continue to wishing well for their family members. And one time Prabhupada mentioned that he was I think a morning walk or something like that. There was a big tree attached to the house, and he said to the disciples, look at the tree, can you see that big tree? And that big tree must have been taken birth as a big tree from his previous life, being one of the family members of this family, because he can't stay away from the family. Now he has taken as the tree in this lifetime and now still attached to the family. And speaking of that, that we know a lot of stories where, um, in Bhagavatam itself says how one is attached to his family member, like a son or wife or anything like that, then he falls down, right? The attachment to Krishna, Ashakti, that is what we have to work towards, not this Ashakti towards um, family members or anyone. And it is said in one of the purport, I believe, or in the translation itself, when you are too attached to the family members, we fall down and go to hellish planet. But again, when we work with the family members for Krishna, and devotees, then no problem. So here, the Dronacharya, he was so attached to Ashwatthama, right? And we see Dhritarashtra, he was so attached to Kauravas. So from that, we understand their life was not so great. Even what happened to the Hitler, he was so attached to the fame and the position and the controllership. So end of his life, he died by committing suicide, drank poison along with his wife. And we see that there is something called Patiloka. Patiloka is where the woman who gives up her life on the fire ceremony, like in the fire, when the husband leaves his body, when the husband is put in fire, the husband's body, once he left the body, his body is put into fire. That time, what happens is she also jumps into the fire. That's called sati. And when that happens, she goes to Patiloka. And once they are in align with this karmic account, they both take birth together. Okay, so King Prithu and his wife, they went to Vaikuntha Loka together. See, for devotees, they could go to Vaikuntha Loka or Krishna Loka together, but for non-devotees, and unfortunately, however, they they just go and take birth wherever, like in any yoni, even in here, animals or trees, aquatics, and everything like that, right? Based on their karmic account. Now, a little bit about jiva leaving the body, it is said in Shubola Upanishad in Chandogya, it is said that when a person leaves the body, you see, we already know that there are Navadwara, right? 9 gates, where one of the body has 9 gates, and one of the gates, the the soul will leave the body. The jiva, the atma, the jivatma, residing in Hridaya Kamala, and from the Hridaya Kamala, it could go out of nostril, or the eyes, or the ears, or the rectum, or the genital, or the head. Uh, so the what is that called? Brahmandram, I think. Let me check. What was that called? Oh no. Oh, anyway, that's okay when I remember. Brahmarandram. So it is Brahmarandram, where this part of the head, at the top of the head, where it is very much advisable, not advisable. You can't advise the person who's leaving the body that, or it is advisable to leave the body from the Brahmarandram. Of course, you can't say that, but for yogis, they knew, and for people like jnanis, they knew as well. And devotees, because we read shastras, we know that also, but we don't care. That's the difference. And but what happens though at the time of leaving the body? Either they excrete or urinate or bleed. Okay, so in one of the dwaras. And the other thing is that the 3 lines at the back, middle of our back portion, and the sound of the churning of the buttermilk, that sound the body will make, or the atma will make, like a churning of buttermilk, taka, 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 like that. At the time, that means the jiva is in the process of leaving the body. So that will happen anytime soon. So that's the indication, right? That the atma making the sound. It's getting ready. It's a general process, though. We already know from Bhagavatam that there are different kinds of conditioning happen when the body leaves. I mean, Jiva leaves the body. Like, for example, it feels like 10,000 scorpions biting, also for sinful people. But for nice devotees, this general process is that gada 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 will happen, and then they just peacefully leave the body, and then they pass through all the planets up, and then they reach the destination, whatever it is. If Rama's devotee might go to Ayodhya Loka, Vaikuntha, or Narsimha devotee, he goes to corresponding or respective Vaikuntha Loka, or Krishna's devotee would go to Krishna Loka. So that's the destination will be decided based on the consciousness of that body. I mean, the soul, the jiva. So, um, interestingly, we know that when the body, the sthula starira is left behind, the soul is leaving. What happens if it's a sinful person or a good person, but not a devotee? We discussed devotee already. What if that's a sinful person? The sinful person, he gets karana deha first. So karana deha is meant for suffering during the journey from the place where he died to the Yamaloka, right? So in Yamaloka, the case will be decided which hellish planet will he be sent to after that. So on the way, the body will get prepared for the suffering, more suffering to come. But for now, he'll get Karana Deha, and then he'll continue to suffer for at least 1 year. And during this journey, he will see the dogs biting and barking, and it's so awful, it's so awful to feel that. And what happens when he is a good deed person. He has done a lot of good deeds. He gets Karana Deha also. However, he will get very respectful, entourage towards Yamaloka, to decide where will he go, whether he will go this Swargaloka or any other higher planets, because he has done some good deeds, or Pitrloka. So both get that Karana Dega, and after that, what happens is, but the difference is, of course, the good deed person, he will get very like a celestial car, for example, and in a respectful manner, he will be taken to the Yamaloka. And then what happens after 1 year of suffering? He go to this Yamaloka, he get yatana deha, this sinful person, and then he will get more suffering. And sometimes it is said that during the journey, he might lose his eyes and he might faint and become, unconscious. But again, he'll be beaten up and then, get ready to continue the journey. So that's there. And Yatana Deha is even more worse. So when, for example, we know that when someone eats meat, cooking meat, then he'll be put in the oil and he'll go to the Ruru planet. The Ruru creature is then like an animal. The animal would cause the suffering to the Jiva. And when he is in Yatana Deha. And whereas this person, the good deed person, where he went to Yamaloka and now ready to go to the higher planet, he'd get the Divya Deha. Now, what happens is both of them has to go through this suffering or enjoyment in their respective planets until that account deteriorates or burns out to some extent, because not everything will be burnt out in one go, of course, because he has to suffer or enjoy more on the next planet, which is usually Earth planet. So here he gets that body, this Yatana Deha, and it's suffering and end of the course. Now he's ready to move on. But if the time is not perfect, he can't take birth yet in Earth planet. He has to wait somewhere. That's where they go to Pitrloka. Same thing happens with these people also. This who has done good deeds, who have done good deeds, they also come there, Pitrloka. Both of them wait there, like transit. But everything is transit in one sense. The Earth planet is also transit. But here we have field of activities happening, but in other planets, no. Like you're going to Disney World and you just enjoy, and then you only can enjoy until you have money and then you buy the tickets and then you enjoy, but then you have to come back, but you can't earn there. You just enjoy, whether you're enjoying or you're there right there, you just do what you need to do. But usually people go there for enjoyment. Like similarly, higher planets, you go there for enjoyment. You don't care about anything else. You don't care about your work or anything else, or earning money, or how much I'm spending, etc. Of course, you'll be a little bit concerned, but that's okay. You will be there until you run out of your money, right? Similarly, the higher planets, not field of activities. You cannot do anything there except just enjoy. You generally don't um, create karma, right? You don't or do bhakti in general, unless of course you are very elevated and then you continue your bhakti there. That's great. Otherwise, you normally wouldn't. So you come back to at the planet. That's where the field of activities could happen, where you create karma as well as you burn karma. Excuse me. And then when you're ready for next birth, then you'll be sent out to the Bhuloka, and then your life continues there. So there is a story about Narada Muni and Kailash, and young man Kailash. And Narada Muni one time met Kailash and said, "Well, Kailash, you're a young man, like Prachetas, He advised Prachetas. They were so intelligent and they became devotees of the Lord, and Lord came and blessed them. I think Lord Shiva advised them, but regardless, when devotees advise, um, the intelligent people quickly pick up and they follow the instructions of the Acharya. But unfortunately, Kailash is not that a kind of person. So he was very young. And when Narada Muni suggested, now you should take up the path of bhakti, immediately Kailash rejected. I'm sure you might have heard this story. And again, sorry if you're hearing it again. So Narada Muni said, well, you should take up the path of bhakti. And Kailash said, well, I'm very young. And I need to enjoy my life. It's too early. Have a pair. I get married. and then I'll see, and then have some children, and then I'll see. And Narada Muni came some years after and asked, and he said, "Well, my children are growing, and I need to protect them. I need to give them shelter. Probably I'll wait until I have grandchildren." And then Narada Muni came again after some years, and Kailash had the same reason again and again, over and over again. He repeated that, "Oh well, now grandchildren need to get married, and now need to look after the property and etc." And when he came, after many, many years, Narada Muni came and Kailash died, and he became a dog at the same house and barking at Narada Muni. And Narada Muni, because of course he's devotee and Trikala Muni, he knew past, present, and future. And he asked, "What's going on? Why are you in the dog's body?" And Kailash in the dog's body said, "Well, you see, the house needs protection, and a lot of thieves, in this area. Therefore, I thought it's better to be a dog for this house to protect my family members and the property. Maybe I'm not ready yet, maybe later." So sometime later, Narada Muni came. Now dog passed away, became a snake, and then Narada Muni very well knew this this man, it's never going to learn a lesson. Better I need to stop this cycle of birth and death. Let me work out something. Then he called out the grandchildren of Kailash. They all came out, and Narmani said, look at the snake. Look, there is a snake." And then the grandchildren brought the family members, adults, and they tried to beat the snake up. And the snake died. And then the Jivatma, that is Kailash, he had said, "Well, now I learned the lesson. So I'm so sorry." So then he took because at the time of death, the snake remembered Narada Muni. He took a human birth in the next life and did Bhakti and then went to Vaikuntha Loka. So from there also we understand that how the attachment to the family creates such a havoc of the cycle of birth and death. And we know that Srila Prabhupada often mentions, sometime who is so attached. One time he mentioned in the lecture or some talk or something, um, he will take birth as a cockroach in the same house. Or sometimes he say he will take birth as a rat. So that's why he warns us that don't be too attached to the family members, or not just the family members. It is said that we have six wives, right? In the metaphorical way, that we have this five senses and one mind. We are attached to the six wives also, correct? Not just extended family members or immediate family members, but to our own body is a big attachment as well. That is definitely a big no-no too. So and yeah, that's that. And then what happens after they burn out all the things like a karmic account, punya karma, whatever, they come back to the earth planet, whether they went to Tapaloka, Janaloka, or even Brahmaloka. They have, or even Brahma Jyoti for that matter, they have to come back. So therefore, we as devotees, we all very well know it's not the new thing. It's we are all chewing the chewed only. It's not just non-devotees or the materialistic people chewing the chewed. We are chewing the chewed also. But the difference is we are chewing Krishna Prasada or Krishna Kada, Bhagavata Kada. But the thing that we need to take on board is that application, practical application in our lives. It's not just that, oh yeah, we learned it, but we think about it. So we make all this material plan, family planning and business planning. We continue to do that. Well, I give myself some time to save money for my generation, future generation, not just for myself. Well, how long are we going to do that for? How many generations are we going to do that for? To be honest, I came with only 10,000 rupees to Australia 17 years ago. So nothing, because my family was not very much in good position at that time, because my family always up and down. They became rich one time and so poor one time, not even have a grain of rice to eat at one stage. And then again, they boom, they have car and big house. And then again, they sell. So my family is totally like kind of different family, but of course, it's still my family. And I'm so honored to give them Krishna consciousness. And the point is, I didn't came I didn't came, I mean, I didn't come to Australia with a lot of money or fame or degree or anything. As I had one bachelor's degree, but nothing more. And I have no English, spoken English skill also, very little. And a lot of trouble being a woman at a very young age, being alone. A lot of trouble I had to face also at the beginning of my life until my husband came after a couple of years. So the point I'm trying to make is, I continue to plan my life, right? Since I became matured enough, I was thinking, oh, I want to take care of my family, and then I want to take care of my that family back then was my parents, and then after marriage, I wanted to take care of my. Of course, this is more of my husband's thought than my own thought, but this is our general situation, right? Like I have to take care of my own children and my husband or wife, and then after some time, well, what happens after my passing away? Do they have enough money? Will they have enough money? Oh, come on, there is inflation always there. Inflation like 10% more or 50% more or even 100% more in a period of time. And how long and how far are we going to stretch ourselves and continue to suffer in this world, working hard? And Prabhupada says heavy, like of course says heavy word, like working like an ass. How long are we going to do that for? We have to stop somewhere and be content with what we have. Again, see, this is personal opinion. I'm not anywhere in giving advice or anything. This is I'm hearing and I'm repeating, and if everyone has their own choice. Someone is very good or better at doing Krishna consciousness, being in the situation where they go to work and take care of the family because they got the routine and they don't want to, separate or divide that. So they're happy with their process, what they do, how they do the morning program and the evening program and the weekend programs and the preaching programs. They're very settled. They're very settled. They don't want to ruin their tasks at all. They want to continue until the end of their life if they could. But for some, uh, they can't take it anymore. They can't survive in the, like, they don't want to interact with anything other than Krishna Kada. They want to continue with more of their sadhana, swadhyaya, and sadachar, and they wanted to dwell deeper into that. Um, but for others, no. It depends on person. That's why there is a variety anyway in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada has given us this big tree of varieties, big tree of fruit, tree. I mean, big tree with full of fruits, with varieties. So you can pick mango if you want. You can pick an apple if you want. It's up to us. But as long as we continue with the Krishna consciousness, that's more important. So I stop here. Thank you very much. Sri Gandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Uh, um, you know, um, all glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Please. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Thank you, Prabhu. Pitrloka, where the ancestors go, it is said forefathers. So, like, as I was saying before, people who have done sinful activity, they can't go to the Pitrloka. One who has done pious activities, they can only go to the Pitrloka. And what happens? They are forefathers until they get the body, until they are ready for the next life. They live there. That's a good question you asked, Prabhu. So we do Shraddha ceremony in Gaya. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did that for his father. So the purpose of doing the Shraddha ceremony is to give suitable body, or even elevate the person who resides in Pitraloka, go to the Vaikuntha Loka. But why they stay there. It's like a transit. So when the descendants, the Pitru descendants are Putras, they have to, Putra means it's a Loka, that is a hellish planet. Trayate means protecting or delivering from the hellish planet. They are called Putras. The son, the duty of the son is to give Krishna consciousness to the father. The same thing goes other way around also, but however, when the father dies, or grandfather or ancestor, they die and then they do whatever they have to do in different planets and come back to the Pitrloka. They stay there until they get the suitable body to the earth planet, to come to the earth planet. Then they can do some activities to cultivate their Krishna consciousness and then go to Krishna Loka or Vaikuntha Loka. But what happens is the sons who does Shraddha ceremony in Gaya, not all of them are Krishna devotees. So that not all of them would offer Vishnu Prasadam to the forefathers or ancestors. They are literally waiting and praying to the Supreme Lord in Pitrloka, the forefathers waiting and praying, saying, oh, well, I hope my descendants would relieve me from this body, because they are still in subtle body. They don't have gross body in Pitrloka. But the subtle body is in little divine platform, not like a subtle body like you have in Yatana Deha, like a Yatana Deha in like a hellish planets. But it's better body, but still you have subtle body. Right, so you need to have proper gross body for doing some activities. Like Ambarish Maharaj did used all his senses and jnanendriyas, karmendriyas, everything in Krishna consciousness, right? But if you don't have that, unfortunately, only with mind and intelligence you can do. Of course, it is said in Nectar of Instructions or Nectar of Devotion, of course you can do dhyana and do Krishna consciousness, but more conducive if you have a better body, right? So that's why they pray. And then they come. When the descendants are fortunately offering Vishnu Prasada, if the priest who does the yajna in Shraddha ceremony in Gaya, and they are devotees, then they would offer the food to Vishnu. But yeah, all the yajnas, all the ceremony go to Yagna Purusha anyway. He is the, Vishnu. He gets that. But again, if you're not directly offering, then the benefit will not be that much reciprocal. So does it answer your question, Prabhu? Sorry, which one, the other one? There are 14 lokas in the material world, and Vaikuntha Loka in the spiritual world, and Pitrloka is one of the higher planets. So we are in the middle, dividing 6 planets above, higher planets above, and the 7 lower planets below. And we are in the middle, and this is where we can do our good activities or bad activities. But it is recommended we do akarma, not karma, good activities, or vikarma, bad activities, but it is recommended to do akarma, which is Krishna conscious activities or bhakti. Yeah, Pitraloka is just one of the lokas down there. It's not even counted towards the 14 planetary system as such. It's just part of lower planets. Thank you, Prabhu. Although Pitrloka at the lower section of the Bhuloka, it doesn't mean it is lowest in the functionalities or features, but it has the tendency of how it behaves in a way as a higher planet, but even though it is situated in the lower part of the universe. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Thanks for the nice question. If any other questions, Haribol Mataji. Yes, Mataji.